The man who entered women's rooms in Brant Hall earlier this year has just been charged. Hear what he had to tell the police.
And Alliance's annual drag show was held this past weekend. We have a look into blood, sweat, and hairspray that went into making it happen.
And warm up by the end of the week. We will have rain chances elevated on Wednesday and Thursday, and we might even get up into a height of 72 on Sunday. I'll have that and more on my full forecast.
We have that and more. This edition of 15 News at 5 starts right now. Update on the man who entered women's rooms in Brant Hall earlier this year. According to the Northwest Indiana Times, 19-year-old Jalen King claims relieving stress was the reason he snuck into girls' rooms as they were sleeping. King admitted to walking through the female floor looking for rooms that were left unlocked. King is being charged with 6 felonies, 3 counts of residential entry, sexual battery, attempted rape, and confinement. King is also being charged with 4 misdemeanors, battery, and 4 counts of voyeurism. King has been removed from the university due to his actions and these pending charges.
Yes, Queen, Alliance brought drag to campus this past Friday with their 5th annual drag show. We sent our team out to join the festivities. Take a look.
Drag is the exaggeration of gender as an art. So there are drag queens, drag kings, pretty much just exaggerated form of gender made for the stage. It's important to have a space like this on a campus like Valpo because it just gives everyone a chance to expand their ideas of gender and how it interacts with their lives. So they can see that gender is more fluid than they think and that the performance of gender is not really set in stone. It's more of a societal thing instead of like an actual biological thing. The gender roles are not really a real thing. So it's kind of like a fun way to show that. And it's also important because it opens people's minds because a lot of people have never seen the drag show before. So we bring it to campus and we make sure it's friendly enough where they can feel like welcomed into the space while also experiencing something new. I first got into it by just looking up Instagram tutorials on how to contour my face, and then I talked to the queens because they're all super nice. They're all really genuine people, so reaching out to people that you know and are comfortable with and saying, hey, I'm interested in this. Can you help me with that? Can you watch me perform? Can you critique my makeup and help me make it better? Stuff like that really makes all the difference. And it's also just wanting to have fun. Drag is a lot of fun, and if you go into it with an open mind, it can be really awesome.
This week, Residential Life put on their annual Tunnel of Oppression. This year's theme was Allyship in Action, and the opening exhibit featured Valpo students and their personal stories of being marginalized for their race, sexual orientation, and gender identity. Other exhibits focused on differing healthcare and education outcomes based on race and socioeconomic class. An exhibit highlighted the ongoing concentration camps for Muslims in China, while others examined mental health issues such as ADHD and eating disorders. The event received many responses. One of the coordinators was fascinated by the rise of German nationalism, while one student had their perspective changed on the white savior complex on social media.
Get your jazz hands ready for the 34th Annual Jazz Fest. The 2019 Jazz Fest is here from April 1st through the 5th. It begins tonight at 6 p.m. in the ballrooms. Events throughout the week are free to students. The fest ends Friday and will feature a performance by Stefan Harris and Blackout, who won an award for Jazz Performance of the Year. Friday's tickets are just $5 for students.
Well, it's celebration time for us here at VUTV, as this past Saturday, members of our team went to the Indiana Association of Student Broadcasters. Out of the 700 entries submitted by all participating schools, former Executive Director Katie Nicolau won second place for Best News Package, entitled Chad the Bagpipin' Lad, while News Director Jessica Burns and Assistant News Director Perry Larrett won second place for Best Newscast Production. This show, 15 News at 5, both categories were won by the School of the Year, Ball State University.
Are you ready to cut loose? Valparaiso University is hosting its 7th annual dance marathon this Saturday, April 6th. Dance Marathon is a fundraising event that benefits Children's Miracle Network hospitals. Valpo dances for Lurie's Children's Hospital of Chicago every year. The event is from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. in the Athletics Recreation Center, and it's not too late to register. For more information, contact carolyn.whittier@valpo.edu.
Well, over the past week, the UPC has released clues about who the header is for this year's Valpo Vibes Music Festival. As of right now, we know the artist originated on the East Coast, and their hit song that has over 150 million streams on Spotify was written in one day. After doing a little bit of research and hearing some people's guesses, we would like to know, who do you think is the header for the Valpo Vibes Music Festival? You can head on over to our Twitter page to cast your vote. The results will be announced next week. Speaking of good vibes, I hope we'll have the weather to match. We have 15 at 5 meteorologist Heather Bricka in the studio today. So tell us, Heather, is spring in the air?
Spring is in the air, but because spring is in the air, we are going to see those spring showers before we see those May flowers. And unfortunately, those elevated rain chances will be on Wednesday during the Valpo Vibes concert and even into Thursday, where we'll be seeing more of those rain chances. And we'll see when Sunday, we might even get a high up to 72 degrees with all this high pressure we're under right now. And currently right now in Valparaiso, we are under 47-degree temperatures, pretty strong winds, 17 miles an hour. We might even see those gusts get up to 25 and even 35 later on this evening, which means it's definitely a lot colder than what we're feeling out there right now. Currently around the area, 47 in Valpo, 48 in Gary, 48 in Chicago, and we're all under about the same pressure system, which is why it's uniform across the board for all these cold temperatures. It's still a little bit chilly out there, but we will see a little bit of warm up later on. Radar for us, we really have nothing going on around our area, and as we zoom out, we see that we are really under all this high pressure system around the area, even in St. Louis and down in Memphis. All the weather is happening just west of us, and we will be seeing a little bit more active weather as we go on through the week. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Heather. Well, President Trump is looking to close the U.S.-Mexico border this week. We have more on what this entails coming up.
And Mark Zuckerberg is calling for more rules for the internet. Here are his plans.
Spark a new idea. Spark a desire to learn. Spark a passion for exploring the field of STEM as we go beyond the final frontier and explore the latest in virtual reality and artificial intelligence. We will play with robots and maybe make a mess or two. For the show keeping you up to date on everything in the world of science, technology, and innovation, join us Friday evenings at 7 p.m. on VUTV Channel 15 or online at valpovutv.org/sparked.
What is passion? At Valpo, it's something that pours out of us uncontrollably. It's a late night shot of caffeine, cramming for finals, a jam session with friends. It sees deep into space, turns big stuff into small potatoes, floats boats and floods the senses. Passion is alive, it has a heartbeat, and it lives in you. How do we know? Because at Valpo, passion is who we are.
Well, I think that's all we need. Thank you so much for coming in. We'll be in touch.
Okay, this is it. Just shake his hand and walk out with your head held high. Don't mess this up. Thank you. Nailed it. Don't let a bad handshake get in the way of getting the job you want. Find out more at the Career Center.
President Trump is focusing on immigration this weekend. The State Department says he directed it to cut off aid to 3 Central American countries. The move comes one day after he renewed his threat to close the U.S.-Mexico border next week. Natasha Chen is at the U.S.-Mexico border with a closer look.
Cutting off aid and issuing a new threat, President Trump has instructed the U.S. State Department to cut off foreign aid to 3 Central American countries, El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras.
We have right now 2 big caravans coming up from Guatemala, massive caravans walking right through Mexico.
Saturday's move comes one day after President Trump said the 3 countries had set up migrant caravans to enter the U.S. He is also demanding action from Mexico, saying he'll close the U.S.-Mexico border next week if Mexico doesn't do anything to stop immigrants from coming into the United States illegally.
Mexico's tough. They can stop them. And if they don't stop them, we're closing the border. They'll close it. And we'll keep it closed for a long time. I'm not playing games.
The president insists the U.S. has run out of detention space for undocumented immigrants. His comments come at a time when Homeland Security and border officials have said their resources have been stretched thin. But this latest move aimed to stop illegal immigration may backfire. According to the U.S. Global Leadership Coalition, foreign aid programs in the 3 countries that are set to lose aid were working to promote opportunity and security for their citizens. In McAllen, Texas, I'm Natasha Chen reporting.
Britain is in more political uncertainty after Prime Minister Theresa May's Brexit plan suffered another defeat in Parliament. Will May and her cabinet try to convince the nation's Parliament once more? CNN's Selma Abdelaziz reports from London.
The seemingly unending drama of Brexit continues now that Prime Minister Theresa May's withdrawal agreement has been defeated in Parliament for a 3rd time. All options are back on the table. Anything goes. But let's run through the most likely scenarios for the next couple of weeks. The first is the no deal scenario. That is, if the UK cannot find a solution by April 12th, the UK will simply crash out of the EU. The second possibility is that the Prime Minister could go back to Brussels and ask for a lengthier extension. This could be up to 2 years long. But it won't be easy to get. On April 10th, the other 27 EU states will meet to have their say on the matter. But we've already heard from France saying that unless the UK can offer a clear pathway out, there might not be support for that lengthier extension. The third possibility is a general election. Analysts will tell you that Theresa May has lost a lot of political will, lost a lot of political authority. The Labour Party has already called for a general election. She did at one point, of course, offer to resign. So a general election is a very real possibility for this country. The fourth option, and it might sound like madness, is that Prime Minister Theresa May could take the withdrawal agreement back to Parliament for a 4th time. Now, how this plays out is quite complicated because the Speaker of the House has already said she cannot bring that withdrawal agreement back to Parliament unless there are significant changes. That's why we saw lawmakers vote on part of the agreement rather than the whole agreement on Friday. And of course, all of this has to take place as MPs try to find their own alternative solution to Brexit, the so-called indicative vote. We had an indicative vote last week. There were 8 options on the table. All 8 were defeated, but 2 came close to succeeding, and that is the customs union and the proposal for a second referendum. So it's possible you could see lawmakers trying to find a hybrid solution here. But really, it's a very complicated situation, and the only thing that's certain is uncertainty. Selma Abdelaziz, CNN, London.
Well, look, there are always going to be issues, but if you're serving a community of more than 2 billion people, there's going to be someone who is posting something that is problematic, that gets through the systems that.
Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg is calling for regulators to play a more active role in establishing rules for the internet. Zuckerberg is calling for stricter regulation of, quote, harmful content, election integrity, privacy, and data portability. He made the call in an op-ed published Saturday on his official Facebook account, as well as in the Washington Post. He said if governments and regulators update the rules for the internet, we could preserve the freedom of expression for entrepreneurs to build new things and protect society from, quote, broader harms. Facebook was condemned this month when it failed to stop a live stream by the New Zealand terrorist attack suspect. Facebook has also faced a series of scandals ranging from hate speech to privacy and criticism over the spread of fake news, especially during national elections.
In Venezuela, there are signs the humanitarian crisis is starting to ease. The Red Cross says it plans to deliver supplies to thousands of Venezuelans within a month. This after China and Russia sent their own aid shipments earlier this week. CNN's Paula Newton has more.
This is clearly very good news for the Venezuelan people, and it does represent a significant departure in policy for President Nicolas Maduro. Now, for several years, the International Federation of the Red Cross has been trying to launch some kind of nationwide humanitarian aid program here. But Maduro would always say, look, we Venezuelans, we are not beggars. We do not need international aid. Well, now it seems there's been a change in that policy, and a source close to the negotiations has also told CNN that the Red Cross here met with Juan Guaido, the opposition leader, and Nicolas Maduro, and that both sides agreed that this was a good way to get aid to Venezuelans. Now, remember that in the last few weeks, Juan Guaido had tried to get that international aid coming in from both Colombia and Brazil. He was unsuccessful. The Red Cross saying now that as that aid is pre-positioned on its borders, it is not entirely clear that it will be using any of that aid here in Venezuela. Take a listen.
Cúcuta and Brazil are issues that were politicized, and we're going to have a look at the aid to make sure that it complies with our rules, our protocols. Of course, we are ready to distribute medical aid that is in Cúcuta and Brazil.
Now, of course, the aid will be very much welcomed and needed by the Venezuelan people. It is, in fact, an acknowledgement by the Maduro government that there is a humanitarian crisis here. Having said that, it puts the opposition in a very sticky situation. They cannot take credit for having ushered in this aid here, even though that's exactly what they are doing. But the Maduro government also calling on countries like China. The Chinese flew an airplane here today, also loaded with aid, and many suspect that, in fact, this will give a boost to the Maduro government and continue the political deadlock that's been going on here for months. Paula Newton, CNN, Caracas.
Coming up after the break, Heather Bricka will have your full forecast.
And we'll take a look at this past week's Crusader sports. Stick with us.
In a world where entertainment is at risk, one man is given a mission, but he is about to face his biggest challenge yet. He will race against the clock and open doors to new possibilities that will save weekends as we know it.
What are you doing?
I'm looking for free movies.
Oh, I'll help you with that.
Just go to movies.valpo.edu. They have all the best movies, including The Hobbit and 22 Jump Street.
Whoa, it's that easy?
It's that easy.
Grab some popcorn, grab some buddies, and watch movies.valpo.edu's great selection.
Now we do see right now around our area, it's totally clear, which means it's pretty nice outside. We do have a little bit of clouds in our area, and that's gonna look a lot different Wednesday and Thursday for us here going into the Valpo Vibes concert, which may be seeing a little bit of raindrops on people who are going to be outside for that concert. Now current temperatures for us, 47 in Valparaiso, 48 in Gary, and 48 in Chicago, all uniform right around our area. Pretty cold still, and those spring temperatures will begin to warm up just a little bit in our area going on through the rest of this week. Now the 24-hour current temperature change, we have raised 11 degrees since yesterday in Valparaiso, 15 increase in Cedar Rapids, and 3 in Green Bay. So we're really under this high pressure system, which is allowing our temperatures to gradually warm up just a little bit compared to our winter weather that we saw earlier this week. The future temperatures right now, Monday evening, we're gonna drop down to 45 degrees, 46 in Gary, 48 in Chicago. Those are gonna dip down into the evening hours, go back up to around the same temperatures that we've been seeing today, 47 in Valpo, 47 in Gary, and 48 in Chicago. Now by Tuesday evening, we are gonna warm up a little bit, and that's what's gonna bring on that rain, possibly in the evening hours. 53 in Valparaiso, 51 in Gary, and 51 in Chicago. It's gonna dip right down to the 34-degree temperature and then raise back up to 46 on Wednesday. Looking at the future radar, we're only gonna see a little bit of these clouds roll around in our area until Tuesday evening, where we see this tiny little bit of rain in our area, and that might even continue on into Wednesday, depending on how that sets up for us here. We're still gonna see a lot more clouds though. Chance of rain for us in Valparaiso, we're gonna see that chance dip up Tuesday evening at 8 p.m., Wednesday morning, continuing on to Wednesday afternoon, and possibly the rest of Wednesday evening. Tonight, we're gonna dip down to 35 degrees, southwest winds gust up to 25 miles per hour, but it's important to note that we are gonna see these continuing temperatures raise up in our area, and even possibly seeing a high up to 72 on Sunday. So we are seeing those spring temperatures come quickly and fast.
Yeah, I'm liking the look of the weekend.
I'm
really liking it.
But it's that rain, so
Warm
it's really
temperatures,
not
but
gonna be
maybe
fun.
some rain mixing in with that.
I mean, I'll take that over snow any day.
Yes, that's true, like we saw earlier, so.
Still waiting on the sunny and 75. Hopefully it's
Yep,
coming.
hopefully. It'll be soon.
All right, thanks, Heather. After the break, we'll have a full recap of this past week's Crusader Sports. Stick with us.
Valparaiso University, where passion meets purpose.
Valparaiso baseball and softball teams had another jam-packed week on the field. Let's begin with the baseball team. The Crusaders were swept during all 4 games this past week. The team faced a loss Tuesday at Purdue and Wednesday at Ball State. The Crusaders were on the road the rest of the week in Texas, both Saturday and Sunday, collecting 2 losses at WBU. The softball team won their Wednesday match during the home opener versus in-state foe IUPUI. The team was set to play Missouri State Sunday afternoon, but the game has been postponed. And Cubs and White Sox in action today. White Sox down 1-0 against the Indians. Cubs play the Braves tonight.
All right, lots of action. Yep. Thanks, Colin. After the break, Heather will have a final look at your weather. Stick with us.
Spark a new idea. Spark a desire to learn. Spark a passion for exploring the field of STEM as we go beyond the final frontier and explore the latest in virtual reality and artificial intelligence. We will play with robots and maybe make a mess or two. For the show keeping you up to date on everything in the world of science, technology, and innovation, join us Friday evenings at 7 p.m. on VUTV Channel 15 or online at valpovutv.org/sparked.
So Heather, what's that forecast looking like for us?
You know, Wednesday evening's really going to be the nasty evening for us. 70% chance of rain, and it's going to continue on through the morning of even Thursday sitting at 60%. So it's going to be rainy midweek, but it's going to clear up later on for the weekend. So.
Well, I mean, as you said earlier, April showers do bring late flowers.
It does, yeah. We can definitely expect some rain. So.
And Colin, busy sports world, huh?
Yes, Final Four this Saturday, national championship this Monday for men's basketball.
Good to hear.
It's exciting.
All right. Well, from Jessica, Heather, Colin, and I, thank you so much for joining us. And we'll see you next week on 15 News at 5.